The War of 1812 is a conflict that significantly impacted both the young United States and British North America, which is now Canada. Today, we'll explore the main reasons for the war from a Canadian perspective, while also focusing on the British impressment of American sailors, economic disruption, and the escalation of tensions leading to the war. From a Canadian viewpoint, the British impressment of American sailors was the major factor leading to the War of 1812. The British Royal Navy's practice of impressment usually involved forcibly conscripting American sailors, which the United States saw as a severe violation of its sovereignty. Between the years of 1803 and 1812, around 6,000 American sailors were impressed, many of whom were American citizens. This practice fueled widespread anger and resentment in the United States, pushing the nation and the whole of North America closer to war. For Canadians, this conflict meant that the British North America has become a primary battleground, with Canadian territories directly affected by the war's hostilities, as they were British colonies. One may say that the impressment also caused significant economic disruption for the United States, which had a ripple effect on British North America. The British Navy's seizure of American ships and cargoes disrupted the whole of American maritime trade, which led to financial losses and economic instability. You may say that this disruption was worsened by the Embargo Act of 1807 that aimed to pressure Britain and France by prohibiting American ships from trading within foreign ports. However, this act ended up harming American merchants and ship owners more than it did British interests. For Canadians, this war brought economic changes, including blockades and trade restrictions that affected colonial economies. The economic impact was felt on Canadian ports and trading posts, particularly in regions relying on trade with the United States, for example. And so, Canadian merchants ended up facing disruptions in the flow of goods, as the increased costs made a need for heightened security and alternative routes. And so, historians have said that the impressment issue significantly escalated the tensions between the United States and Britain, which led to the war. Public outrage in the United States was fueled by newspapers and public speeches that condemned British actions. They were calling for the protection of American rights and honor. War generals and hawks in Congress, like Henry Clay and John C. Callahan, argued that the war was necessary to defend the American sovereignty and national honor. And so this political pressure ended up growing in the declaration of war. For Canadians, the war meant facing invasions and battles on home soil, as the United States sought to strike at British forces in North America. The defense of Canadian territories became a crucial aspect of British and Canadian strategy during the war, with significant battles such as those at Queenston Heights and Lundy's Lane showcasing the resolve of Canadian militia and British troops. Some historians argue that American expansionist desires, particularly the aim to take over Canada, were significant drivers of the war. The same congressmen saw the conflict as an opportunity to extend the U.S. territory and influence, as motivated by the belief in the manifest destiny. The U.S. government's initial war plans actually included invasions of Canada, and so it reflected a clear interest in territorial expansion. For Canadians, the threat of American expansionism was a direct and immediate danger, and so the defense of their territory was made a priority by bringing in Britain. was also the economic warfare waged by Britain and France through trade restrictions. The British Orders in Council and the French continental system severely restricted the American trade with Europe. The United States, that was heavily reliant on international trade, saw these restrictions as unjust. And so, in response, the U.S. implemented measures like the Non-Intercourse Act of 1809 that aimed to restrict trade with Britain and France. However, these measures were ineffective and harmed the American economy.